I never thought I'd hear my mother-in-law plotting to take my daughter away from me. But there I was, frozen in the hallway of my own home, listening to her poison my husband's mind. Raymond, darling, you have to face facts. Andrea isn't stable enough to raise Tori. Look how she handled the birthday party today, completely overwhelmed by a few guests. What kind of mother can't even manage her child's first birthday? My name is Andrea, and that moment changed everything. I'd spent the last hour cleaning up after Tori's party while Martina held court in our living room, criticizing every decision I'd made, from the organic cake to the modest decorations. Now I understood why she'd insisted on staying after everyone else left. Mom, Andrea's just tired. She works full-time and… Exactly my point. A proper mother would be home with her child. Your sister managed it beautifully with her 3. I gripped the wall, my knuckles white. The party had been lovely until Martina arrived with her entourage of society friends, turning my intimate celebration into what felt like a society event. Tori had been overwhelmed by the crowd, crying until I took her upstairs for a quiet moment. Remember how she disappeared with Tori during the party? Martina's voice dripped with manufactured concern. That's not normal behavior, Raymond. A child needs stability, structure. Your father and I could provide that. My blood ran cold. I'd known from the day Raymond and I married that Martina disapproved of me, the middle-class teacher who'd stolen her precious son from the ranks of eligible society women. But this was different. This was calculated. I don't know, Mom. Raymond's hesitation made my heart sink. Why wasn't he defending me more strongly? I stepped into the doorway, making my presence known. I think I should be part of any conversation about my daughter's welfare. Martina's perfectly made-up face showed no embarrassment at being caught. Instead, she smiled that practiced smile I'd seen her use at countless charity events. Andrea, darling, we were just discussing Tori's future. As grandparents, we naturally want what's best for her. What's best for her is her mother, I said, moving to stand beside Raymond. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Of course, dear. No one's suggesting otherwise. Martina stood, smoothing her designer dress. I simply pointed out that with your challenging schedule, you might appreciate more support. That's all. The way she said challenging schedule made my job sound like a character flaw. I'd worked hard for my position at the elementary school, proud to be teaching 3rd grade while raising my daughter. I managed just fine, I replied, keeping my voice steady. Tori is happy, healthy, and loved. Is she? Martina raised an eyebrow. I noticed she seemed quite distressed today. And last week at my house, she was perfectly calm all afternoon. Perhaps she responds better to a more structured environment? That's when I noticed the phone in her hand, recording our conversation. My stomach lurched as I realized this wasn't just casual criticism. She was building a case. Raymond, I turned to my husband. Could you please ask your mother to leave? It's been a long day, and Tori will be up from her nap soon. He shifted uncomfortably. Mom's just trying to help, Andrea. Maybe we should consider… Consider what? I cut him off. Letting your mother take over raising our daughter? Martina gathered her designer purse, the picture of wounded dignity. I can see you're too emotional for a reasonable discussion right now. Raymond, we'll talk more later. She paused at the door. Do think about what I said. After all, we all want what's best for precious Tori. After she left, I rounded on Raymond. How could you let her talk about me like that? She means well, he said weakly. You know how she is about family. Family? I laughed bitterly. She's been trying to push me out since day one, and now she wants our daughter? Upstairs, Tori began to cry, probably roused by our voices. I started toward the stairs, but Raymond caught my arm. Maybe Mom has a point about your stress levels, he said quietly. You have been on edge lately. I jerked away from him, suddenly seeing everything clearly. This wasn't just Martina's usual interference. This was the beginning of something bigger. She'd been laying the groundwork for months. The concerned phone calls to Raymond, the subtle criticisms of my parenting, the offers to take Tori for extended visits. As I climbed the stairs to comfort my daughter, I made a silent vow. I would fight for my family with everything I had. Martina Schmidt had no idea who she was dealing with. Looking back now, I realized that was the moment everything changed. The day I stopped trying to please my mother-in-law and started planning how to save my daughter from her clutches. I just didn't know then how far Martina would go, or how far I would have to go to stop her. The manila envelope felt heavy in my hands as I stared at the court documents inside. My fingers trembled as I read the words again. Temporary custody granted to Martina. The rest of the text blurred through my tears. 3 months had passed since Tori's birthday party, and everything had unraveled with frightening speed. Raymond had moved out 2 weeks ago, claiming he needed space to think. Now I knew exactly what kind of thinking he'd been doing. My phone buzzed. Martina's number. I declined the call, but a text followed immediately. The police will be accompanying me to collect Tori at 2 p.m. Please have her things packed. This will be easier if you cooperate. I glanced at the clock. 11:23 a.m. Less than 3 hours. You can't do this. I typed back, my fingers shaking. She's my daughter. The court order says otherwise, dear. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I called Raymond immediately. He answered on the 4th ring. How could you? I demanded, not bothering with pleasantries. Your mother? Really? Andrea, please, he sighed. It's temporary, just until you get better. Get better? There's nothing wrong with me. Mom showed me the videos, the outbursts, the emotional instability. Videos she deliberately provoked. She's been planning this for months. Listen, he said, his voice taking on that condescending tone I'd grown to hate. Mom has resources. She can give Tori everything we can't right now. The best schools, activities, stability. She has stability. She has love. She has her mother, who works full-time and can barely afford. Don't you dare. I cut him off. Don't you dare make this about money. Your mother's been manipulating you since day one, and you're too blind to see it. The doorbell rang, making me jump. Through the window, I saw Abigail, Martina's closest friend, standing on my porch. What fresh hell was this? I have to go, I told Raymond. But this isn't over. I opened the door, ready for battle, but Abigail's face wasn't wearing its usual society smile. Can I come in? She asked quietly. There's something you need to know. I hesitated, then stepped aside. Abigail perched on the edge of my couch, looking uncomfortable in my modest living room. Martina doesn't know I'm here, she said. But I couldn't. I had to warn you. She's been planning this for almost a year. What? Abigail pulled out her phone, showing me a series of text messages. She started gathering evidence last Christmas, recording your conversations, documenting every time Tori cried or you seemed stressed. She has a whole file of carefully edited videos making you look unstable. My legs gave out, and I sank into a chair. Why are you telling me this? Because she did the same thing to her sister-in-law 15 years ago. That family moved across the country to escape her. I can't watch it happen again. Upstairs, I heard Tori singing to herself as she played with her dolls. The sound nearly broke me. What am I supposed to do? I whispered. She has money, connections, everything. Fight smart, not hard, Abigail said, standing. Martina's weakness is her reputation. Everything she does is about maintaining the perfect image. She headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Andrea. She's planning a big charity gala next month. All her social circle will be there. Might be worth getting an invitation. After she left, I ran upstairs to Tori's room. She looked up from her dolls with that bright smile that made everything worthwhile. Mommy, look, Princess Sparkle is having a tea party. I sat down beside her, pulling her close. Baby, we need to pack some things. You're going to stay with Grandma for a little while. But why? Her lower lip trembled. Just for a little bit, while Mommy takes care of some things. But I promise you, I'm going to fix this. When Martina arrived with the police, I was ready. I handed over Tori's favorite stuffed rabbit, her special blanket, and my heart. I'll see you soon, sweetheart, I whispered, hugging her tight. Martina's triumphant smile as she led my daughter away told me everything I needed to know. She thought she'd won. But Abigail's visit had given me something precious: hope and a plan. As I watched the car drive away, I pulled out my phone and Googled Martina's annual spring charity gala. Time to get myself an invitation to the social event of the season. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. Just sign here to volunteer for the spring charity gala, the elderly woman said, sliding the form across the desk. We're always looking for new faces. 2 weeks of strategizing had led me to this moment. The local community center, where Martina's sister Eliana coordinated volunteer activities, was my way in. I'd changed my appearance just enough: darker hair, glasses, and clothes that screamed eager social climber rather than grieving mother. Thank you, I smiled, signing with slightly altered handwriting. I've heard such wonderful things about the gala. Oh? Eliana looked up, studying me more carefully. My cousin attended last year. She couldn't stop talking about how elegantly Mrs. Schmidt handled everything. Eliana's expression shifted subtly. Yes, my sister does have a talent for handling things. Something in her tone made me look closer. There was a story there. I'm just excited to be involved, I continued, even if it's just arranging flowers or serving drinks. Actually, Eliana said, we need someone to help coordinate the silent auction. Previous experience? 3 years organizing fundraisers for my daughter's... I stopped, swallowing hard. For the elementary school. Eliana's eyes softened. You have a daughter? Had, I whispered, the pain in my voice entirely real. I lost her recently. It wasn't technically a lie. I had lost Tori, just not the way Eliana might assume. I'm so sorry. She touched my hand. I know something about losing family. Would you like to get coffee? The cafe next door makes excellent lattes. 20 minutes later, we sat in a quiet corner booth. Eliana stirred her coffee thoughtfully. My sister, she said suddenly, has always been obsessed with perfection. The perfect family, the perfect image, the perfect control. I held my breath, waiting. Years ago, Eliana shook her head. Never mind. The past is past. But be careful working with her. Martina can be intense about her projects. Does she help with the auction? Oh yes, she oversees everything, especially since she got custody of her granddaughter. I gripped my cup tighter. Granddaughter? Yes, poor thing. Apparently the mother was unstable. Eliana trailed off, frowning. Though honestly, I've met that little girl. She asked for her mother constantly. My heart clenched. What does Mrs. Schmidt say about that? She changes the subject, just like she did when... Eliana stopped again, looking troubled. When what? She leaned forward. Can you keep a secret? Years ago, Martina did something similar with our brother's wife, convinced everyone she was unfit. That family fled to Canada to escape her influence. I haven't seen my nieces in 15 years. My hands shook so badly I had to set down my cup. Why didn't you stop her? I tried. But Martina, she's very good at twisting things, making you doubt what you see. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. She touched my arm. Are you all right? You've gone pale. Fine, I managed. Just reminded me of something. Eliana studied me for a long moment. Then her eyes widened slightly. Oh my God, she whispered. You're her, the mother. I froze, ready to bolt, but her hand gripped mine tighter. Don't worry, she said quietly. I should have seen it sooner. The timing, the story about your daughter. She pulled out her phone, typed something, and showed me the screen. It was a photo of Tori from yesterday, looking sad while Martina posed her in front of a piano. She's not happy, Eliana said, and neither was I, watching history repeat itself. Please, I whispered. Don't tell Martina you know. Tell her? Eliana laughed bitterly. I've been waiting years for someone to stand up to her. The silent auction position is yours. It'll put you in direct contact with her social circle. Just be careful. Martina's not above destroying anyone who threatens her perfect world. As I left the community center, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was Eliana. Dinner at my house tomorrow? I have photos from other events you might find interesting, including some of Martina's more unguarded moments. I smiled for the first time in weeks. Finally, I had an ally. And more importantly, I had access to Martina's world. That night, I added Eliana's name to my growing map of connections and evidence. Below Abigail's warning about the gala, beside the note about Martina's pattern with other families, soon I'd have enough to expose the truth. Soon, I'd have my daughter back. But first, I had a silent auction to coordinate. She's filing adoption papers next week, Abigail whispered, glancing nervously around the empty coffee shop. Once those go through, you'll never see Tori again. My coffee cup clattered against its saucer. She can't do that. Raymond would never. Raymond signed the preliminary paperwork yesterday. Martina convinced him it's the only way to ensure Tori has a stable future. 1 month of infiltrating Martina's social circle had yielded countless stories of manipulation, but this was different. This was endgame. I need proof, I said. Something concrete. Check your email. I recorded Martina discussing it at yesterday's committee meeting. She doesn't know I keep my phone running during these sessions. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone. The audio file was there. Martina's voice crystal clear as she bragged about her plans to finally make things official with her granddaughter. Why are you helping me? I asked Abigail. She twisted her wedding ring. Because 20 years ago, I was you. Different situation, different child, same Martina. I was too scared to fight back then. I've regretted it ever since. The cafe door chimed. A woman with a press badge walked in, catching my eye with deliberate intent. Zara, the local journalist Eliana had connected me with. Ladies, she said, sliding into our booth. I hear we have something interesting to discuss. I played the audio file. Zara's eyebrows rose higher with each passing second. This is gold, she said, but we need more. Photos, witnesses, a pattern of behavior. I have photos, Abigail said. Lots of them. Martina when she thinks no one's watching. The way she treats Tori when the cameras aren't rolling. And I have witnesses, I added. 3 families she's done this to before. Eliana helped me track them down. Zara pulled out her notebook. Tell me everything. For the next hour, we built the case. Abigail's photos showed Martina's mask slipping. Harsh words, grabbed arms, tearful children. My witnesses painted a pattern of manipulation spanning decades. Zara scribbled furiously. This is bigger than a custody battle, she said finally. This is about power, control, and systematic emotional abuse hidden behind society's perfect veneer. My phone buzzed. A text from Eliana. Emergency. Come to my house now. I have to go, I said, standing. But Zara, how soon can you run this story? Give me a week to fact-check everything. But when it hits? She smiled grimly. Martina won't know what hit her. 15 minutes later, I rushed into Eliana's living room to find her pacing. Look at this. She thrust her tablet at me. It was an email from Martina to her lawyer, accidentally copied to Eliana. Once the adoption is final, we'll move to Europe. I've already enrolled Tori in a Swiss boarding school. The distance will help her forget all about. She's planning to leave the country, I whispered. Next month, Eliana confirmed, right after the gala. The gala. An idea formed. That's where we'll stop her. Everyone who matters will be there. Her whole carefully constructed world in one room. She'll never let you in. She won't know it's me. I'm on the planning committee, remember? And I have these. I pulled out the donor list I'd been working on. Every major player in her social circle, all in one place. Eliana's eyes lit up. The silent auction. We could set up a presentation, something that seems like it's celebrating her. Until it doesn't. I finished. But we'll need help. You have it, said a voice from the doorway. Abigail stood there with Zara. We followed you. Hope you don't mind. Mind? I laughed. I need you both. Zara's story, Abigail's photos, Eliana's insider knowledge. And your courage, Eliana added. We can do this. We spent the next hour planning. Each person had a role, each piece of evidence its place in the revelation to come. As we finished, my phone chimed with a video message from Raymond. Tori sat at Martina's grand piano, looking lost as Martina forced her small hands through complex scales. Mommy does it better. Tori's voice wavered. I want Mommy. Mommy's not here. Martina's sharp voice replied. I'm your family now. I looked up at my unlikely allies, the society friend, the whistleblower sister, the crusading journalist. 2 weeks until the gala. Let's make them count. Zara raised her coffee cup in a toast. To bringing down the queen of manipulation. To saving Tori, I corrected. To justice, Eliana and Abigail said together. The pieces were in place. Now we just had to survive until the gala. Andrea, we need to talk. Raymond's voice behind me nearly made me drop the auction catalog I was organizing at the community center. I turned slowly, grateful for my disguise. I don't know who. Drop the act, he said quietly. Eliana told me everything. My heart stopped. She wouldn't. She would when she saw what I found in Mom's study. He pulled out a thick folder. Bank statements, court documents, letters to her lawyer dating back to before Tori was even born. She's been planning this for years. I glanced around the empty room. Why are you here? Because I was an idiot, he said, running a hand through his hair. Because I let her manipulate me just like she's done to everyone else. Because our daughter cries herself to sleep every night asking for you. My hands clenched. And you're just now noticing? I'm trying to make it right. He opened the folder. These prove she's been transferring large sums to the judge who granted her custody. There's more. Documentation of her threatening other families, proof she bribed witnesses. Why should I trust you now? Because I found this. He pulled out a document with tomorrow's date. She's filing for full adoption and immediate permission to leave the country. Once that goes through, we'll never see Tori again. I sank into a chair. We're planning something at the gala. I know. Eliana told me. But you need these documents to make it stick legally. He placed the folder in front of me. I've made copies. Use them. Raymond. I studied his face. She's your mother. Are you sure? She stopped being my mother the moment she tried to steal my daughter. He headed for the door, then turned back. Andrea? I'm sorry. For everything. After he left, I called an emergency meeting. Within an hour, everyone gathered at Eliana's house. These are perfect, Zara said, flipping through the documents. Combined with our other evidence, this is nuclear. But we have to move fast, Abigail added. If Martina suspects anything... She doesn't, Eliana interrupted. She's too focused on the gala. It's her moment to show off her perfect family before whisking Tori away to Switzerland. I spread the evidence across the table. Raymond's documents, Abigail's photos, witness statements, bank records, Zara's draft article. Walk me through the plan again, I said. Zara pointed to her laptop. I've prepared a video presentation, supposedly highlighting Martina's charitable work, but halfway through it transitions to show her true nature. Witness testimonies, surveillance footage, everything. I've arranged the seating chart, Abigail added. All her victims' families will be in the front row. They're flying in specially. The tech team's on board, Eliana said. They'll lock down the exits when the presentation starts. No one leaves until it's done. And I've alerted certain law enforcement contacts. Zara smiled. They'll be there to handle any legal implications. My phone buzzed, a text from Raymond. Mom's showing off Tori to her friends again. She's exhausted, but Mom won't let her rest. I showed them the message. We have to end this. 2 days until the gala, Eliana said. Everything's ready. Almost everything. I corrected, pulling out a small box. I need one more favor. Inside was a silver locket, Tori's favorite, with our picture inside. I'd managed to slip it to her once during a supervised visit, but Martina had confiscated it. Can someone make sure she gets this before the gala? She needs to know Mommy's coming for her. Abigail took the locket. I'm having tea with them tomorrow. I'll find a way. As we finalized details, another text came through, this time from an unknown number. It was a photo of Tori sleeping, clutching her old stuffed rabbit, tears still wet on her cheeks. The caption read, "She needs her mom. Don't fail tomorrow." I looked up at my allies. My friends now, really. We won't fail. No, Eliana agreed. We won't. For Tori, Abigail said. For every child Martina's tried to steal, Zara added. For justice, I finished. We worked late into the night, checking and double-checking every detail. When I finally left, Eliana hugged me tight. Get some rest, she said. Tomorrow we prepare. The next day we take my sister down. Driving home, I passed Martina's mansion. A light was on in Tori's window. I could almost imagine her there, waiting, hoping. Hold on, baby, I whispered. Mommy's coming, and this time, no one's going to stop me. The gala was coming. Our trap was set. And Martina had no idea she was about to lose everything she'd worked so hard to steal. The grand ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and society's elite. I adjusted my wig and glasses, clipboard clutched to my chest as I directed caterers and checked sound equipment. No one looked twice at the efficient event coordinator in sensible heels. Everything's ready, Zara murmured as she passed, pretending to check her press credentials. The video's queued up. I nodded slightly, then froze as Martina swept in with Tori. My daughter wore a frilly pink dress that she would have hated under normal circumstances. Her small hand clutched the silver locket we'd managed to get to her. Smile, darling, Martina commanded, steering Tori toward a group of photographers. Show everyone how happy you are with grandmother. Tori's eyes scanned the room, and for a heart-stopping moment, they met mine. I pressed a finger to my lips. She gave the tiniest nod, then turned back to the cameras. Places, everyone, I called out, my voice disguised with a slight accent. The presentation begins in 20 minutes. Abigail appeared at my elbow. The families are all here. Front row, just as planned. And the police? Plain clothes scattered throughout. They're ready. I watched Martina work the room, showing off Tori like a prize poodle. Raymond stood near the bar, looking increasingly uncomfortable as his mother bragged about their fresh start in Switzerland. Ladies and gentlemen, I announced at exactly 8 o'clock. Please take your seats. Mrs. Schmidt's special tribute presentation is about to begin. Martina preened as she led Tori to their seats of honor. The lights dimmed and the screen lit up with carefully curated photos of Martina's charitable works. For 20 years, the narrator intoned, Martina Schmidt has been a pillar of our community. I slipped through the crowd to the tech booth. Now, I whispered to the operator. The screen flickered. Suddenly, instead of charity galas, there was Martina screaming at a terrified Tori for spilling juice on her designer rug. Then Martina threatening one of her previous victims. Photo after photo, video after video, each more damning than the last. Gasps filled the room. Martina leaped to her feet. Stop this immediately. Security, I called out. But our planted security team just stood watching. The evidence kept coming. Bank statements showing bribes, court documents revealing her pattern of manipulation, testimonies from families she'd destroyed. Who's responsible for this? Martina shrieked, spinning around wildly. I stepped into the light, removing my wig and glasses. I am. Andrea, she hissed. How dare you? No. I cut her off, my voice carrying through the microphone I'd concealed. How dare you? How dare you steal children from loving parents? How dare you traumatize innocent families? How dare you try to take my daughter? Security, remove this woman. They won't help you. Zara stood up, press badge gleaming. They're with us, just like the police officers scattered throughout this room. Tori broke free from Martina's grip and ran to me. I scooped her up, holding her close as she sobbed, "Mommy, Mommy," into my shoulder. "This is absurd." Martina tried to laugh, but her society friends were already backing away. "These are obviously fabrications." "Are they?" One of the front row guests stood up. "Like you fabricated evidence against me 15 years ago?" Another rose. "Like you threatened my family?" "Like you tried to steal my grandson?" A third voice called out. Martina's perfect mask cracked. "Raymond, tell them. Tell them I only wanted what was best." "What was best?" Raymond stepped forward. "Was it best when you bribed Judge Harrison? When you planned to smuggle my daughter out of the country? When you destroyed evidence of Andrea's fitness as a mother?" "I have proof of everything," Zara announced. "My expose runs tomorrow. Every detail, every victim, every manipulation." Martina lunged for Tori, but two plainclothes officers intercepted her. "Martina Schmidt," one said, producing handcuffs. "You're under arrest for conspiracy, evidence tampering, judicial bribery." As they led her away, still screaming about ungrateful children and her ruined reputation, I held Tori closer. "Is it over, Mommy?" she whispered. "Yes, baby. You're coming home." Raymond approached cautiously. "Andrea, Not now," I said quietly. "We'll talk later. Right now, our daughter needs us both." The ballroom had erupted into chaos. Reporters pushing forward, society friends fleeing the scandal, Martina's victims sharing their stories with police. Eliana and Abigail appeared beside us. "Let's get you out the back," Eliana said. "The media can wait." As we slipped away, I heard Martina's final shriek, "I gave you everything. I am everything." But she was wrong. She was nothing now. And we were finally free. The morning after the gala, my living room filled with police officers, lawyers, and child services representatives. Tori sat in my lap, refusing to let go even for a moment. "Mrs. Schmidt's being held without bail," Detective Morris explained. "The evidence of judicial tampering alone." "Will I have to testify?" I asked, stroking Tori's hair. "Not likely. We've got dozens of witnesses, documented evidence, and 3 judges admitting to accepting bribes. She's looking at serious time." Raymond paced by the window, phone buzzing constantly. "Her lawyers quit. The society boards voted to remove her from every committee. It's like watching a house of cards collapse." "Mommy," Tori tugged at my sleeve. "Can I show you what Grandma made me do?" My heart clenched. "Of course, baby." She led me to the piano we'd kept in the corner. Sitting down, her small fingers began moving mechanically through scales. 6 hours a day," she said quietly. "If I made a mistake, she'd make me start over. She said it would make me perfect like her." Raymond stopped pacing. 6 hours? She told me it was just casual lessons." "There's nothing casual about your mother," I said. "Tori, honey, you never have to play again if you don't want to." "Can I just play Twinkle Twinkle like you taught me?" "Of course." As Tori picked out the simple melody, smiling for the first time in weeks, the doorbell rang. Eliana and Abigail stood there with Zara. "You need to see this," Zara said, holding up the morning paper. The headline screamed, "Society Matriarch's Reign of Terror Exposed." "It's going viral," Abigail added. 3 more families have come forward already. And that's not all. Eliana pulled out her phone. "Listen to this voicemail Martina left me from jail." Martina's voice filled the room, raw with rage. "You treacherous snake! My own sister! I made you what you are. I'll destroy you all. Eliana stopped the playback. "There's more, but it gets worse. The police are adding witness intimidation charges." "How's she handling jail?" I couldn't help asking. "Not well." Detective Morris smirked. "Apparently orange isn't her color." Tori's piano playing stopped. "Is Grandma going to jail forever?" Raymond knelt beside her. "She did some very bad things, sweetheart. She has to face the consequences." "Like when I have to sit in timeout?" "Something like that." I managed, fighting back tears at her innocence. The child services representative approached. We've reviewed everything. Given the circumstances, we're recommending immediate restoration of full custody to Andrea, with supervised visitation for Raymond until the divorce proceedings. No, I interrupted. No supervision needed. Raymond was a victim too. He's still Tori's father. Raymond looked at me gratefully. I don't deserve your forgiveness. This isn't about deserving. It's about healing. All of us. Zara cleared her throat. Speaking of healing, the families Martina targeted want to meet. They're talking about starting a support group. Count us in, Raymond said firmly. It's time to break the cycle. Suddenly, Tori started playing again. Not scales or classical pieces, but a simple, happy tune she was making up on the spot. That's beautiful, I said. It's for you, Mommy, and Daddy, and Aunt Eliana and Miss Abigail and everyone who helped bring me home. The room fell silent except for her improvised melody. Even the police officers stopped their note-taking to listen. Out of the mouths of babes, Eliana whispered. Detective Morris stood. We'll need more statements later, but for now, spend time with your daughter. The DA's office will be in touch about the case. As people filed out, Abigail lingered. Andrea, thank you for doing what I couldn't all those years ago. Thank you for helping me do it. After everyone left, it was just the three of us, me, Raymond, and Tori, our broken little family starting to heal. Can we have pancakes? Tori asked. Grandma never let me have pancakes. We can have anything you want, Raymond said. Then I want pancakes with Mommy and Daddy. We moved to the kitchen, Tori directing us like a tiny conductor as we gathered ingredients. When she wasn't looking, Raymond touched my arm. I know I messed up. We'll talk later, I said. Right now, our daughter wants pancakes. As flour dusted the counter and giggles filled the air, I realized something. Martina had tried to create her version of a perfect family through control and manipulation. But here, in this messy kitchen with imperfect pancakes and genuine laughter, we'd found something better. We'd found truth. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as Martina emerged in handcuffs. Her designer outfit had been replaced by standard prison garb, her perfectly coiffed hair now stringy and gray at the roots. 20 years, Raymond whispered, squeezing my hand. No possibility of parole for 15. I watched my former mother-in-law being led to the prison transport. She caught my eye and mouthed something that looked like, I'll destroy you. But the threat felt empty now. Ready to go home? I asked. Actually, he hesitated. I was hoping we could talk about that. We found a quiet cafe near the courthouse. Tori was at school, her real school, not the elite private academy Martina had forced her into. I've been offered a job, Raymond said. Here in town, heading up a nonprofit that helps families affected by parental alienation. That's wonderful. The thing is, he stirred his coffee endlessly. I've been staying at Eliana's, but that was temporary. And I know we're technically separated, but seeing you with Tori these past few weeks, watching you fight for her, I realized what I almost lost. What I want to fight for. Raymond, I'm not asking to move back in. I know I need to earn back your trust. But maybe we could try counseling? Start with family dinner once a week? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. It was Zara. Turn on the news now. I pulled up the local station on my phone. Footage showed police raiding Martina's mansion. Evidence of decades of financial fraud, the reporter announced. Sources say Mrs. Schmidt had been embezzling from her own charities for years. In related news, 3 more judges have stepped down amid the growing corruption scandal. She fooled everyone, Raymond said quietly. Even me. Especially me. Not everyone, I corrected. Eliana knew. Abigail suspected. They just needed someone willing to stand up to her. Like you did. My phone buzzed again. A text from Tori's teacher. Thought you'd want to see this. The attached photo showed Tori at Show and Tell, proudly holding up the newspaper article about Martina's conviction. My mommy, the caption quoted, says sometimes the bravest thing is telling the truth, even when people don't want to hear it. Raymond's eyes welled up. She's right, and I need to tell you my truth. I love you, Andrea. I never stopped. I just lost my way for a while. I know, I said softly. But finding your way back isn't just about love. It's about trust, respect, standing together. Then let me stand with you now. The nonprofit needs a co-director, someone who understands what families go through, who can help them fight back. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a partnership, in every sense. The cafe door chimed as Eliana and Abigail walked in. Sorry to interrupt, Eliana said, but you need to see this. She handed me a letter. It was from Martina's first victim, the sister-in-law who'd fled to Canada. We're starting a support network, Abigail explained, for all the families affected by Martina. They want you to lead it. Me? You're the one who brought her down, Eliana said. You gave everyone hope. I looked at Raymond, saw the same hope in his eyes. We could do it together, he said. Help other families heal while we heal our own. My phone lit up with another photo from Tori's teacher. This time, my daughter sat at a classroom piano, teaching another student the simple version of Twinkle, Twinkle she loved. The caption read, she said everyone deserves a chance to make their own kind of music. Yes, I said finally. To all of it. The nonprofit, the support network, the counseling, the family dinners. But we take it slow. As slow as you need, Raymond promised. Eliana raised her coffee cup. To new beginnings? To truth, Abigail added. To family, Raymond said. To justice, I finished. The real kind. Outside, the media was still buzzing about Martina's downfall, but it felt distant now. We had more important things to focus on. Healing families, rebuilding trust, and creating something genuine from the ashes of false perfection. Shall we go pick up our daughter? Raymond asked. I took his hand, feeling the weight of my journey in that simple gesture. Yes, let's go make some real music. As we left the cafe, I caught my reflection in the window. I saw someone stronger than the woman who'd lost her daughter, braver than the mother who'd fought back, wiser than the wife who'd trusted too easily. I saw someone ready to build something true. And this time, no one could take it away.